not have snow to cover the garden this winter. No tree ornate with light so far from home. We might not
Hello,
need a coat.
my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, last time we got together, a little controversial, and this is what we talked about. So I'd like to review this and add on to it just a little bit, and then move into what we're going to talk about today, which also is going to be controversial. So our last video was the world is not real. And did I get some comments on that? As one of them said, this is just BS. The world is real and I can prove it, and he went through some stuff. But here's what we had. You create your world. Your world isn't real. It's your creation. And so you end up with your world here, and this is a filter. It looks like a lens, but it's a filter. It's also called your perceptional lens, how you perceive the outside energy system and create your world inside. Now I'm going to erase this anyway in a moment. So I'm going to take some of this off because I want to add another little diagram that might give you some insight. Part of the reason we think the world is real is because we go to our friend and we say, "Wow, do you see that out there?" And they say, "Well, yeah, I see that out there." And you go to somebody else, say, "You see that out there?" You say, "Yeah, I see that." Well, that means it's real. So let's take a look at how we do that. So we'll take this out. And as I'm doing this, you can, have a cup of tea. Okay, good enough for what we want to use it for. By the way, I'm having a little black tea. Here in Michigan, it's still early morning. I got up early to make a little video. And it's cold here and snowy in January. So we're going to have a nice warm background, hopefully. It's called Breakfast in Paris. Quite nice. Now, I said that you make your world. I'm going to draw another place. Up a little higher. You make your world. I make my world. Two different worlds. But if we have certain things in common, our worlds overlap and we have a common area. For instance, if we're raised in the same country, speak the same language, when we make our world, we are going to describe it a lot the same. Now, if we are our world and your world, if we are raised in the same religion, in the same town, go to the same stores, our world is going to be a lot the same. Up here, if you are where you're raised, and this other person over here is raised in the Amazon, in the back of the Amazon forest, your two worlds are not going to be the same. But if we have certain things in common, language is a big one, school system, religious beliefs, political beliefs, our worlds come closer together. And at some point, now I have to draw it over here, our two worlds will be a lot the same, and then we'll say, do you see that? And they'll say, yes, of course I see that. We say, oh, well, that proves the world's real. Doesn't. You're playing with yourself. You're hiding from the illusion, making believe that it's not there. You got to quit that. It's not helpful. So now, you see how your worlds come together, and do you see that that's why you don't get along with minorities or ethnic groups or Native Americans or some. Your worlds are so far apart, you can't communicate. That's why we have so much trouble in the world. We think we're so different. Well, that's another story. Now, in a moment, we're going to change this, and this is our topic for today. The brain is hardware. Or as I have put it in the description, amazing. Did you know the brain is just hardware? So I have started a little model, and I'm going to explain it. And we'll see what happens. Now, here we have software, hardware, and output. All systems have a input, and they process stuff, whether they make things or process information, and then there is an output. Whether you goes to a printer, or now we got three-dimensional printers, so we can make all kinds of stuff. But this is the basics: software, hardware, and output. Now, the hardware comes with the ability to accept software. In a computer, it's called the motherboard. And so before that can work, you have to have a software system installed for the hardware to work. Now, this is the brain. It's hardware. Now, we put a lot of things on the brain that it doesn't do. But we believe it does, because we say, well, it's got to be in the brain. Where else could these functions be? And part of the reason is we're locked into our egoic belief system, and we think that everything is physical. Materialists, that's what they think. Well, if it's not material, then it doesn't exist. If I can't sense it with my senses, it doesn't exist. Well, we get carried away with that. For instance, in the brain, I've stated a lot of times There's no memories in the brain. There is no memories that we can find and reproduce in the brain. And yet we know we have that function. We can remember memories, we can restore them, bring them up when we need them, put them back when we're through with them, but we don't know where the memories are or how we do that. So it's a function that we don't know what it is, so we attribute it to the brain because, oh, the brain has got more connections than stars in the universe and all kinds of stuff like that. A lot of theories, a lot of good theories, but they all have feet of clay when you really get down to them. So, but that doesn't stop us from saying, well, yeah, we're going to, in the next year or two, or a millennium, we'll find out how we do that. And maybe we will, but it won't be in the brain. So the brain is hardware. It processes. It's a CPU. No matter what the magnificence is going on in the brain, I want you to imagine it's a black box. That's all. It's a black box. And from your subconscious mind, which we don't know where that is either, because in the subconscious mind are all your memories. And from those memories, your belief system. And from your belief system, you construct your world. So from that belief system, which gets information. See, I can't throw everything in together here, but the subconscious mind is processing information from your senses, and through your belief system is sending signals to the hardware. The hardware, now you might not think about this, but the brain is very predictable. You can see it more if you think about medication. So, because when you take a chemical into your body, goes into your bloodstream, does a lot of stuff, but that chemical goes to the processor. And then the processor processes that signal and then gives an output. For instance, if you are taking medication for depression and you take the medication today and you get relief, you feel, oh, I feel better today. So that's predictable because the signal has been tested enough, the medication, so that it knows how the brain is going to function, how the processor is going to take that signal, and it's going to make some changes, give you an output that's going to make you feel better. So it does that. Signal, input, process, output, feel better. Now tomorrow, you take the same medication, and it makes you feel paranoid. You're looking. What's out there? I don't feel right. Things aren't the same. It's not predictable. You can't take medication. If the next day after that you feel suicidal, it's not predictable. So I'm saying that depending on the input signal, the processor is very predictable on the output you're going to get. We don't think about it that way because Oh, the brain does so many things. It's so fantastic. It's so mysterious. But when you shrink it down to a black box, you give it a signal, you get an output. You give it a signal, if it's the same signal, you get the same output. So this is very predictable. We don't like to think so. We think the brain thinks. Brain doesn't think. It just processes. Just processes. Brain doesn't think. It just processes and gives you an output signal. So now, your subconscious mind, based upon input from your senses, will, through the software, your belief system, will send a signal to the hardware, and the hardware will process that signal and give you a predictable output. Now I'm looking here at the body. I hope you can see it. It's like just the front of the body, the cross section of the body. And that signal, why am I doing that? Every muscle, every slight nuance in your facial expression, in your body language, how you move, moving your hand, moving a finger, is you need a signal from the CPU, from the brain. Every muscle moves because of an electric signal. As those muscle fibers move in and out because of the signal. So it's the software that determines the output. The brain just processes. And we think that it's doing fantastic things. Now, inside of the black box, magnificent things are happening. I have no idea what they are. And nobody else does either, or very little. We like to think we do, but when it gets right down to it, it's a black box. And we say, oh no, we'll take little pieces of it, reductionism, and then we'll find out exactly how everything is done in here. You won't. Why? It's mysterious. It's got more connections than the stars in the sky. Oh, by the way, memories. The two main theories are that memories are stored in the synapses between the dendrite and the axon, and then we have memory consolidation where neurons get together into a pattern and we keep the memory. Now if you look at those, we're not going to do that today, but if you look at those, you'll find that it can't work that way. But we've convinced ourselves it can. So here's what I want you to, the carry away I want you to get from this. Your subconscious mind, your belief system, determines how you're going to respond. Another thing is, look at the body. The body has no direct connection with the outside environment. So when the body responds, it is not responding to the outside environment. It is responding to the software on the inside that produces a signal that goes to the CPU that processes it and gives an output signal that determines Are you going to put your finger up? And if so, which one? You have the choice of 5. And depending on the signal will determine of the 5 which one you want to express. Oh, there are many things going on in the illusion. And I haven't said that yet. But this is all illusory. It's all an illusion. There is no reality. The only reality. Oh, and that's another question that I had. People got upset at that. And they said, well, that's New Age. I said, no, what I'm talking about is not New Age. It's ancient wisdom, Eastern philosophy, older than Buddhism. About the same age as the Tao, or the process idea of the Tao, going back to the Upanishads. And in that understanding, there is no outside world. The only world, the only universe there is the one you create inside of you. Now, fortunately, if you create a world and your next door neighbor, who has many of your same experiences, creates a world, those two worlds will be very close, and you'll have a lot in common, and you can spend a lot of time over a cold one expressing your worlds. And you'll say, oh yeah, there's only one world. I don't know what that guy's talking about. Everybody makes their own world. You're in an illusion. Now, this is not easy. I know that. Because you've been programmed so completely in the egoic thought system. So, making inroads into seeing the illusion is going to take a little time. Some have already started that process, and it's going to be okay. What's the bottom line? When you know you're in an illusion, when you know you are the creator of it, you can manipulate it. You can change it. You can manifest. You can come up with something that satisfies your goal. And I'm suggesting your goal above everything else should be, my goal is to be happy. Whatever that means for you. Don't pick all kinds of, oh, I want to have a new car, I want to have a new job, I want to have this, because you believe that's going to make you happy. But if you are happy, the universe will support you. And it will bring to you things that will support you in being happy. Magnificent way to manifest. So, give that some thought. And until we see each other again, here in the illusion, be good to yourself. And we'll see you then. Bye now.
Que